not be maybe so disgusted over some mistakes, but it just seemed like for Alyousef that when he faced the difficult part of the rack, it just got to today. I think he cleans it up today, and we'll see. Now, what I do see is I noticed this yesterday. The guys that are taking off speed a little bit, they get a little bit tougher layouts. Notice the 3, 4, and 7 on the side rail a little bit. I think they're playable, but I like the guys that are still smashing them a little bit on the break. Super thin cut on the one. I'm not sure it's really even playable. Looks like he's going to play a safety of. Oh, he played the bank. Nice shot.
Having beaten Niels Fine and Naoki Oi, two very familiar faces at the highest level of pool, he must be confident in that regard. What will dilute his confidence is the fact he missed 5 balls against Oi in the previous round, but he wasn't punished.
Well, Alyousef, I think when he plays, he doesn't consider himself much of a dog playing anyone. He kind of sticks to his own game, but I think he'll be even more comfortable playing some, because I think he knows that Lo Ho Sung's in the same unique position as he is. And a nice little solid out, even if the balls are a little bit easy, here early can do a lot for either one of these players. And really any of the players in the event. I know some are just a little above others. That first rack, getting it on the board, that's so huge.
I like the pause in his backswing. Carl Boys wasn't so enamoured with that. The problem with the pause is if it becomes a little too lengthy as the nerves increase.
Yeah, you'll see a bit more of a pause at times, because when you're nervous, the backswing gets a little quick. So you just kind of inherently pause more, trying to help the timing. And I'll tell you, he's got really good fundamentals overall, though, and a very powerful stroke. If he ever has to really put something into the draw stroke, you'll see it today. Now, one thing that didn't happen in Lo Ho Sung's match is he really never trailed. All right, a little off angle here. Don't really see too much of a problem, but this is where that powerful draw stroke really comes in handy. You don't need a ton of power when you have such solid fundamentals, and you can move the.
Extension.
Extension, please. Abdullah Alyousef wins the first.
There is no better nerve settler than to break and run out in the opening rack, and that's what Abdullah Alyousef did there with the aid of a very nifty bank to start things off. Abdullah Alyousef having the time of his life here at the World Pool Masters.
I'm looking forward to be in the final and to be the champion. Everything until now is good, very good. He's a great player and he's a great person as well. He did very good. Usually when I go deep, the nerves go on. I don't know, but I hope I win.
Well, speaking very positively there, Kuwait is blessed with several fine players. Badr Al Awadi and of course Omar Al Shaheen who was runner-up in the World Championship last year, the World Nineball Championship, to Albin Ashen. And now Abdullah
The second rank.
Alyousef has arrived on the
Abdullah
scene
Alyousef to break, leading 1-0.
very impressively.
Yeah, very impressive, and it was unfortunate that we didn't have Omar in this field. He was originally one of the participants, but you know he's sweating here, as he did at the World Pool Championships. All right, a bit different there, and I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but a bit more of a cut on the one, and what will be an obvious safety play here to open rack number 2. He may not get the snooker here, but he's got a good chance to play the 1 ball underneath the 5. And here you don't take a chance on that corner pot 8. Don't lose the cue ball there. Maybe just drift the cue ball towards the back of the 8. Never hitting it hard enough to scratch. Yeah, that's a good speed and a very protective speed. Now this is a little a la the color of money here. This is a very makeable kick shot on the 1. If he can get a little underneath it, I think it goes right in off the 5, Phil. Little Keith McCready, Grady Seasons.
Love it, Jeremy, love it. Let's hope he gets it, just to vindicate your call.
Yeah, actually it was Tom Cruise that made the shot after the safety by Grady. Almost any contact will threaten the corner. Oh, top English, I don't like that. Yeah, I didn't like the cueing there with the tip position, Phil.
Illegal contact, ball and net.
And that's experience on the slick table.
You've been talking about it all week, Jeremy, and it really does come into play. These are, I'm not going to say alien conditions for these guys, but you've got to have your wits about you.
Yeah, well, just, you know, you play a lot of kick shots off instinct because tables do differ so much that you can calculate somewhat. But instinct and experience, and this is a pretty big overrun here on the 2 ball. And he contacted the 5. And I wonder if he got a little frisky there trying to push the 5 nearer the pocket. And maybe has to play another safety after a ball in hand. He can come 2 rails behind the 5 with the cue ball, putting the 2 underneath the 3.
Extension, please.
Looks like he may be wanting to take on the cut. Yeah, and you know, of course, I think if he shoots it, all the great players, I like betting on them to make it, Phil, but that was no guarantee with the cue ball, and that puts a little doubt in the mind and maybe a little frustration not gaining better position on the 2 right there.
Yeah, who would have thought he would have left the table so prematurely after having ball in hand, just 2 shots.
That's a little heavy as well. So nerves are a little bit high to start early, and that's understandable. That may leave a gap as well, Phil, or at least a bit of an easier kick shot. And you can see a little frustration on the face from Alyousef. Wow, nice shot. difference in these two guys really is we know they're both on another big stage that they haven't had a lot of experience, but Alyousef has played many more matches, you know, maybe not in this setting, but against great players, I would have to say.
Foul. Illegal contact. Ball in hand.
Well, for the second time in pretty quick succession, Abdullah Alyousef gets ball in hand, and surely this time he will fully exploit the situation. The 9 was contacted.
Okay, he should just draw down the table here.
I was making the point yesterday, Jeremy, that apart from the fact he was in the semi-finals of the World Nineball Championship, a real accomplishment in itself. On another rare international outing at the start of the year, he got 3rd place at the Turning Stone Classic, which again is tough company.
Yeah, absolutely. A big field there, and a lot of players that you don't know the names but can certainly beat you. And we all know the list of champions that have played that event. They just don't go to that event for nothing, right?
Well, in that tournament, he was 8-4 up on Shaw, the eventual champion, and lost 9-8, so his placing might have been better than 3rd. He is more than capable.
Yeah, and Alyousef's been a really solid player for a long time, and I think Omar Al-Shaheen's, what he's done in a short professional pool career has maybe motivated this man.
So then it is 2-0 to Abdullah Alyousef. The only slip-up was when he went back to his chair, it seemed. Loho Sum has made a slow start, but for him, it's been a really memorable week.
It's amazing to be here in quarterfinal, and it's really like a dream, especially in Whirlpool Masters, and getting into the quarterfinal and to beat Shane, the newest world champion. Yeah, so it's like a dream. I think he's a very steady player, and his face always like no any emotion to show out. So he's a very steady and very calm player. I would be nervous, but for me it's like mission is accomplished now. So just enjoy the moment.
Well, in one sense, it's good to embrace the fact he knows he's going to be nervous and not try and deny it. Having said that, when he said mission accomplished already, you want to go all the way, don't you? That's the thing, you want to go all the way.
Yeah, as a young player and new to the scene, you want to build that hunger, right? That kind of killer instinct in these moments. And I'm sure, once the physical gets better, I think the mental gets better as well. And I've seen improvements in his technique, and that's probably due to hanging out with Kelly Fisher. Now, what a big this is. A 3-game deficit after a couple mistakes for Loho Sum could be pretty heavy. All right, he's getting the same results here with the 1. He's just got to clean the cue ball up a little bit.
You're right, Jeremy. The 1 ball has ended up in the same vicinity of the table in all 3 racks.
Yeah, and there's different cut breaks. Certain cut breaks, the 1 will hit before the side. Some, actually, the harder one, the 1 will fly past the side and end up in a very similar position. A lot of the players just don't like the movement on the cue ball. If you miss the cut a little bit, you could end up below the rack. We all know in this winter break format, one game can really turn into many quickly. I think he should go for this, maybe. Feels comfortable drawing by the 6 ball. I think maybe he should go for this bank. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to come away with a pocket that he really likes. Looks like a bit of a scratch if it does go in the lower left. You may have to cut this in the side, and if he does, watch out, 9-ball. Oh, wow, what a shot. And I would suspect maybe playing them both or having a chance to make both, or one or the other.
Well, that was a supermarket shot, 2 for the price of 1. And look at the shape on the 5.
Yeah, and maybe good goes in. He got quite a bit behind the 5. Big shot. Oh, he's overcut this. Is it going to slide in? No, it's not. And he kind of just let up on it a hair, I would say.
And that's the common denominator. If you slightly decelerate on a shot like that, you will overcut.
That's exactly right. And also a nice little example of the difference on the 4-inch pockets. That ball goes in on the 4 1/4 or the 4 1/2 most likely. And the technique change, that improvement I see is when I saw Loho Sum at the Whirlpool Championships, at times he would kind of shoulder the ball a little bit. And here he's been holding the back elbow in place much better, and I gotta believe that Kelly's really addressed that.
There she is, Kelly Fisher, former Women's World Snooker Champion, and now the dominant force on the WPBA Tour in the USA. She's played 3 tournaments so far this year, all 3.
Okay, he wasn't sure if that one was in when he first released the cue, but I see Loho Sum. You know, you couldn't necessarily say for sure he's a rhythm player, but you can see a little bounce in the step at times.
Some.
The 5 ball went astray for Abdullah Alyousef. For the entire 4 days of this tournament, the weather has been perfect. We're on the southern tip of this spectacular headland. There we are, the Europa Point Sports Complex. Can't imagine a Q Sports venue anywhere in the world with a better view than the one we're privileged to have. This afternoon, we complete the finals of the World Pool Masters. First up, Abdullah Alyousef leads Loho Sam 2-1. Next, it's Joshua Fuller against Denis Akolio. Mouth-watering match that. And then finally, Spain against Poland. Sanchez Ruiz against Fortunsky.
Trailing 2-1.
And one thing Loho Sam has done is he's made up for his mistakes with his break and runs. He had 3, maybe 4 against Shane. Had a couple against Dennis Grabe. So he's obviously broke the balls well. It's a nice kiss on the cue ball. That was going to be planted on the end rail. It doesn't appear a break and run's going to be the ticket here, but has a nice wall of balls down here near the spot, being the 8 and 9. We'll see how he decides to play it. Maybe a little thin on the 1 to get behind those balls so easily, and he's a little elevated. So maybe he moves the 1 more than move the cue ball. Oh, he's going to love that. And if Yusuf can't go to that same side rail, this is a difficult hit. You may have to really elevate the cue and swerve at this ball. The soft kick here isn't too bad, though, overall. Is he going to the jump cue? Oh, my. Now, this type of shot here, when you're so close to the object ball and the 1 is so far away, any miss hit, you can certainly curve the cue ball and foul on the 1. Oh, this is tough action, Phil.
Foul stroke, more contact.
We weren't saying that with hindsight, were we? That seemed extremely high tariff. He was approaching the cue ball almost like a sheer drop with the cue.
Yeah, it's a dart effect, and you can see he just came across it a little bit. I may entertain the 1-6 combo here. That makes things a little easier getting from the 5 to the 6 to the 7. If you eliminate the ball and it looks like an easy combination, just opens the rack up a little bit more. Again, timing off a little bit for Loho Sam here early. Well, he's got to go at this, I think. Problem is, how much of the pink is he going to contact? And is the cue ball going towards the upper left? A lot of times when there's another ball there, you kind of can lose sight of what you're doing. Easy to miss this, actually. And that was all about the worry of the cue ball, Phil.
Yeah, the initial positional effort left an awful lot to be desired there. It really did. Anything straightish on the 2, and the whole rack would have opened up.
Good thing for Loho Sam is it's been the overhit early, which is pretty common. But that one can kind of be, you can kind of get a hold of that if you get some opportunities. But the problem is, oh my, I didn't expect that either. But the problem is, I was going to say getting that opportunity, but here it is.
Well, seeing that shot, Jeremy, reminds me of the fact he missed 5 pots in his previous match. 1 was a really difficult 9-ball. The other 4, though, eminently makeable. And already 3 missed pots in this contest.
Yeah, and it's going to end up on top of the 4, it appears, and still nothing easy for this young man. He's got to shave the 4 towards the 5 and run the cue ball, I think. You know, Alyousef would tell you the 4-inch pockets had nothing to do with that 2 ball, but it does show when you are off a little bit. Was he considering the kiss shot? I would have to shave the right side of the 4 and run the cue ball.
Having already taken his extension, the beeps on the 30-second shot clock were very much in his mind there, caused him to hurry up, get his skates on.
Yeah, similar to the foul when using the bridge in the second game. And he's left a very makeable cut shot. The key to this is don't let up. And he's broke these balls out as well. They stayed tied up and now in an awful position. Got to keep this simple here, Phil. Just you're not going to open the 6-8. You're probably not going to play the bank on the 6-8. So make sure you don't miss the 5 or lose the cue ball or trap yourself like this. I'm surprised. He's a pretty experienced player. Thought he would just run the cue ball to the right side of the table and then play the chip shot on the 6. He's facing a guy that's struggling early. No reason to take these chances.
And that should have cost him the rack. He did Loho Sum's work for him there.
And that's a little experience also. Even if he gets underneath that 6, the way it laid, very difficult to make the combo. And again, some cue ball problems here early for Loho Sum, and it's been the first shot, really. All right, this is all about speed. I think he, of course, I like him to make the ball, but if he ends up over on the other side rail with the cue ball, could be difficult on the 8. I thought Alyousef would play a soft kick shot on the 6-8, just keeping them tied up. Yeah, you could see the nerves right there. Quite a bit of body movement going on. Just some mild tremors, you might say.
Abdullah Alyousef.
The narrative of this match following a similar course to that of Abdullah Alyousef's previous match against Naoki Oi. He's making mistakes, but so far not being punished for them. There you see that win over Naoki Oi, 7-3 in the last 16. Oi, by his standards, had a very poor day. Wasn't poor though from Alyousef to get to the semi-final of the World Championship in April, and he's the 13th ranked player on the Nineball rankings, 39 years of age. Loho Sum, considerably younger, one of many fine pool talents to come from Hong Kong, including another fellow we've seen on our TV screens in the last couple of years, Robbie Capito. He's 23, Loho Sum. His Nineball ranking is 38th. He's making his debut in the World Pool Masters, and he's made quite an impression, especially with that 7-6 win over Shane Van Boning, the world champion he overcame in the last 16.
Abdullah Alyousef to break, leading 3-1.
Okay, much better cue ball there. Dressing the one over the corner. And these balls have opened up nicely. And it's very rare at the highest level that you really, may change according to your opponent. But there is a rare occasion when you can see some maybe too much nerves going on by your opponent, even though you're nervous as well. Maybe shot selection changes at times for Alyousef, if he recognizes it. Uh-oh, again, a little bit of an overhit on the first shot. We'll see if it holds up. He's okay. Like to get the cue ball back where it's at now. That's about as good as he could do. Well, the two balls really been difficult in this match so far for Abdullah.
The 2 ball is frozen to the ring.
You're right, Jeremy, and in that instance, the 3 ball would have been difficult for him had he been on it.
Yeah. What happens is you just get a little quick and the ball kind of carries with the cue ball, kind of like a kick in snooker. Oh, I like the long rail kick here, but it's got to really bend the ball.
False stroke. A little contact ball in it.
I do hope for Shane Van Berning's sake that he's not watching this, because if he is, he might be thinking, he will be thinking, why didn't he play like this against me?
Well, he made a few mistakes against Shane. Actually missed a couple more balls than Shane, but he put some racks together. He made it up with breaking runs. And he could still do that in this contest. It's just a matter, again, if Alyousef's breaking great. If he just settles in, Loho Sum may have difficulty to get back to the table. And both guys, again, are a little quick, but that's okay. That's pretty common.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest matches of Abdullah Alyousef's life. It is the biggest match, you'd have to say, of Loho Sum's still short career.
The 7 plays in both pockets. So you just don't want to get a missable 6 ball. This is all speed control. Thought he would run the cue ball here 2 rails. Just come out of that top left corner. Oh, he's going to draw the ball. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of work left in this rack still, Phil.
Yeah, he's obtaining position, but far from ideal position.
Extension, please.
Just a reminder, it's a 30-second shot clock, with every rack giving the opportunity for a player to have 1 30-second extension, which Abdullah Alyousef has used there sensibly.
Yeah.
But I'm still not convinced about this 9. There's just a grain of doubt in my mind, Jeremy.
Well, that was the best timing he's had yet right there on the drag stroke on the 7.
Abdullah Alyousef.
Well done there. That was centre cut. It was another mistake from Loho Sum. No contact made. And all of a sudden, the Kuwaiti is 4-1 ahead, more than halfway to victory, even though he's made his share of errors. Not so many as his opponent. So we're down to the last 7 players left in the tournament now. We do have one semi-finalist, and in these last couple of matches, Ko Pin-Yi has been really impressive. Caught the eye against Max Lechner, certainly in the quarterfinals, with a 7-2 win. So Ko Pin-Yi will take on Denis Okolye or Joshua Filler in the semi-finals. That guarantees a really well-known and decorated finalist. But the bottom half of the draw, well, it's wide open in the eyes of many. Abdullah Alyousef or Loho Sam will take on the winner of our last match this afternoon, which is Spain's Francisco Sanchez Ruiz against Mieszko Fortunski from Poland.
Yeah, Josh Filler, our last seed left, but the name next to his in the draw for today, we all know he's a seed in every event, that being Denis Urkulo. And he hadn't lost a game in a while, that being Denis. He's won 14 in a row, I think.
Yeah, 14 racks in a row. Denis the Menace.
Got a few nicknames. RoboCop. I think his original one was the Fisherman. All right, he's going to love this, unless the ball's in the way. Yeah, this could get out of hand quickly.
Jeremy, you're very observant, and you were focused a while ago. It was all about getting control of that one ball, wasn't it? And now he's done it. The last two racks, it's been sitting pretty.
And there's a lot of little mental things going on in today's matches. Of course, the one thing I think about, and you said, is, you know, oh, that's light. Is that going to get there? Man, the 1 to the 2 has been the struggle in this match for Alyousef, and the draw stroke is something usually he can depend on. But what I was going to get at is, you know, Ruiz, of course, very experienced player. Fortunski, of course, very experienced in both of them. A lot of talent. But both of them are thinking, you know, if I get past this match, whoever wins that quarterfinal to get into the semis, they're seeing us some mistakes here by Alyousef and Loho Sam. So it'd be easy to lose a little focus in that later match. I don't think we're going to see that, but nice hit here.
It was a nice hit, but let's be honest about it, he should not have been in that position in the first place. Quite a wide margin of error positionally to drop on the 2. That was a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, and this ball is falling a little difficult. He can't just ease this in. He's got to play this with some speed, carrying off the 9, kind of 2 rails into position for the 3. This is the exact type of shot that becomes very difficult when things are going kind of so-so. He's got to release the cue, Phil. Yeah.
The Jeremy Jones vibe. 99 times out of 100. It's a justified vibe.
Yeah, I've been there. I've done it too many times. And techniques make a huge difference about nerves. If you're a little shorter, stroker, it's easy to get quick, and I feel like you don't have as much room for error with nerves, maybe. And I didn't think the 3 passed the 7, but I guess it does, maybe. Yeah, he's not wasting much time.
Well, just a moment or so ago, you saw the pot success rate of Loho Sam, 73%. It was 94 Abdullah Alyousef. But now that has just deteriorated because yet another ball has gone astray.
Yeah, and he had the entire pocket. Yeah, just drove it into that upper point, and we talked about it. The table's going to toughen up a little bit as the days go on, and I don't know if Loho Sam had a little talk with himself there. He came away from the chair, I kind of feel, saying to himself, man, I'm getting my chances. Now let's wake up. Touchy little shot here if the ball's frozen. I think it's just a little off. Okay, the 8-ball is going to be a nice one to cannon into here. Not sure why his head. He's got to start getting down that positive path. Oh, much better stroke there, releasing the cue. I like that.
Well, if he doesn't win this rack from here, no one to blame but himself. Abdullah Alyousef reminded you can't keep missing balls and getting away with it.
Low sum.
Eventually mistake.
Thank you, the 7th rack. Low sum to break. trailing by 4-2.
Our referee Marcel Eckhart announcing the start of the 7th rack. Lojos hoping to consolidate on winning the 6th and getting some kind of foothold in the contest.
Wow, well, I thought we were going to have a dry break. The corner ball wasn't down. He's going to get a little off angle here on the 1. He's going to have to come with a really nice shot if he wants to go offensive. Looks like he's got it on the cue ball and make a pretty good cut shot into the side. Kind of feel like the commercial break may make a bit of change here for Lojos some. I think it would have been a perfect time to maybe have a timeout, maybe have a word with Kelly, something positive. I think he's got to go here. He's got to shoot.
Quietly, please. Extension, please.
Some noise from behind the bleachers. Don't mess with Marcel Eckhart in that regard. If you hear noise, he will swiftly admonish you. Nicely done. He's knocked in some really good balls, actually, to the middle pocket in this tournament. A lot of players are having lots of problems, but that was superbly executed.
Well, it was what I was talking about with the technique. Really held the back elbow in place a lot better. He's got a little bit of an angle here to go forward if he wants, I think anyways. Looks like with a little left English. Now this will show a bit of signs on what he can get on the cue ball. Not a lot of angle to move it, but I think he really does have to get above the 4. Don't know if he can hold for the upper left or the left middle. He could kind of roll it in and take the upper left for sure. Yeah, I got away from him. I was afraid of that. And that's a little experience right there. It just doesn't bite as much as your club table or your home table. And now a difficult safety. And a difficult offensive shot as well. Yeah, I may go for this. Yeah, and he really hasn't managed the clock as well, and that's just a bit of experience. He'll learn that as he goes.
And the body language as he moves back to his chair, trudges back to his chair, screams annoyance, frustration, irritation. He knows he's not giving a true account of himself.
Looks like he's has a little bit of an angle. I'm not sure what he does here. He has to avoid straight in or straight in-ish on the 7. Maybe draws to the right side of the 7, making a natural angle to come over for the 8. This is going to get close to straight. And very straight, so I'm not sure what he does here. Phil, this is where how you're playing can make a huge difference on your decision. Well, it looked like the 9 was always going to be in play on the draw stroke. A bit unlucky to get snookered, though, if he is snookered. Great cue action, though. Just out of line on a ball. You have to put a little more into the next shot. There's a little bit of accuracy at times.
required extra thinking time for this, Alyousef, so taking easily second extension.
He's kicking with a hard at it, I guess. Side pocket, maybe. This is going to come down for a pretty easy shot, it appears.
This routine 9 to close the gap again. So far, at least, it is a standard that's incongruous with the quarter-final of the World Masters. But Alyousef digging in, and despite making a mistake himself in that rack, getting it one anyway. 4-3 to Alyousef. The Matchroom multi-sport pool schedule this year is simply wonderful. We've already had the World Nineball Championship and the Premier League pool. The World Pool Masters concludes today. In 9 days' time, we have the start of the inaugural UK Open at the Copper Box Arena in London. In Essex, just to the north east of London, it's the Brentwood Centre for the World Cup of Pool in June. Then the US Open in Essex City, and the Mosconi Cup also stateside in Vegas, where my co-commentator Jeremy Jones will be captaining Team USA again. And we've got the European Open. As yet, we don't know the venue or the date, but it will be in Germany. And that's another superb tournament to look forward to. Bound to attract a terrific field.
Thank you, the 8th rack. Lewis time to break. Trailing by 4x to 3.
One's going to end up on the side rail. I think he does have a cross side bank. Problem with this is it doesn't have a ton of angle to move the cue ball, but it does have a little angle that's going to send the cue ball away. So I don't know if he can get the cue ball all the way back around for the 2 in the side. The pink 4 you can see just obstructing an easy cross side bank where you can just hold your ball for the 2 in the corner. It would have to be draw stroke to get position on the 2, it appears. Wrapping the lower right corner, coming out towards the 3. Oh my.
Foul stroke, keep a contact. Ball in it.
Man, you're going to see Alyousef play a pretty devastating safety.
Start the clock, please.
Overall, Jeremy, it really is a comedy of errors, but as they say, no one's laughing.
Yeah, and, you know, he may send the 1 at the 9 a little bit. I kind of like putting the 1 just in between the 3-7. Still not going to matter. He's not going to go for a 3 foul if he does get ball in hand here. The layout's just too doable.
Extension, please.
Yeah, we've really kind of had it all. We started the match with a break and run. Looked to be a very positive note, not only for the match itself, but for Abdullah. And then from there, we've had some miscues. Really missing position a few times on some routine kind of shot. I think that kind of set the tone. He's got to go for this kick. He can't try to move the ball with the 2 over the side. I don't know how you kick at it. Maybe just 1 rail off the top rail, but you have to go for this.
foul stroke. Second foul, illegal contact, ball in net. Start the clock, please.
Well, just like the previous rack, you would think Alyousef, after that foul, would be in and away. But it's one of those matches where you can guarantee nothing. All kinds of mistakes are being made.
Oh, again, it's the same exact thing. It's been something that kind of a freak of nature. Getting on that 2-ball has just been a serious issue for Abdullah, and I think 3 out of the 4 times it was with ball in hand.
Well, when you think that Loho Summers committed 5 fouls and he's still in this, only 1 behind.
Yeah, it's been some gifts, and then they've been given back, basically. And another one here, and...
Well, Sam, I've got to remind you, you're on 2 fouls. You have to, if you commit a foul in this turn, you're gonna lose the...
Yeah, Marcel, I'm reminding that Loho said that if he fouls here, it would be loss of rack. That was better.
Yeah, it's really been some of the easy situations overall for both the players. When Sam is faced with a little bit more difficult shot, he's just had better results. Okay, another difficult shot here because he's got to get the speed right. Okay, and this is where technique makes a huge difference if you're trying to just stun out one rail. A little longer stroke, very easy to move the ball out, probably 2 feet or so. You get a little short with it, that cue ball won't move much. That was better. And I don't know if you noticed, Phil, a little bit longer backswing there from Loho Sam.
All about trying to facilitate freedom in the cue arm, and it's so much easier said than done. But Loho Sam, guilty of 5 fouls, as we've said, is now 2 balls away from parity.
Yeah, most players on the slick table would probably roll this ball versus 3 rails when you're a little bit far away from the 7. That's going to be pretty hot. If it rests on the rail, this is going to be a difficult shot. It should be okay.
Sam.
Throughout the match, Loho Sam has been playing catch-up. At his lowest ebb, he trailed 4-1. Now, though, it is 4-4, even though you could never possibly say he's playing clinically. He's making mistakes. But in the last few racks, Abdullah Alyousef has made more.
Yeah, the first look of concern in this match for Abdullah, and you got to believe the pressure's a little bit more on him now.
So this is the 2-ball that Alyousef missed after a very poor positional shot from the 1. And then Loho Sam went to work. It started out this as the best of 13 racks, a race to 7. Now it is best of 5. And the way things have gone, Jeremy, I think predictions should go out of the window.
That's right.
The ninth rack.
I guess you got to like Loho some just because he's kind of weathered the storm. He made a nice out there. He's breaking the balls here in the 9th game, and there's a lot of weight on the shoulders of Abdullah. Really, this match could be over. Oh, another one where he missed the corner ball, and in my opinion, it was a pretty square hit. It wasn't perfect, but he made the ball cross the side. Watch the pink. Both times the winged, he made the same ball cross side, so fairly consistent. And it looks like the 5-7 on the lower right is a playable combination, so a big 1-ball shot here for some. And this is a little in between, especially if you're nervous. You want to hold the ball here. Much better. He's got to cut the 5 a little bit. It doesn't look like he can go forward with the cue ball. It doesn't really want to roll a combination when they're so close to each other. So if he misses the pocket a little bit and still makes the 7, could lose 5. We'll see. Oh, it was set up nicely.
Yes, the 5 and the 7 perfectly set on. The first rack was a break and run out for Abdullah Alyousef. Since then, it's been scratchy, bits and pieces kind of stuff. Lots of fouls, lots of errors. Maybe Loho Sam is reserving his best pool for when it matters most.
Some
For the 5th time, Gibraltar is hosting the World Pool Masters. For the 2nd time, we're in the fine facility that is the Europa Point Sports Complex, right next to the Lighthouse. We've got one player through to the semi-finals already, Ko
Thank you,
Pen
track
Yi.
10. Low sound to break. Leading the match 5-4.
Can Lo Ho Sum become the 2nd player into the last 4? 2 racks required.
Yeah, nice break and run in his last. Very steady after a nice opening 1 ball. Oh, he's made the wing ball that time. Still, the balls didn't open quite as well, and it looked like to me the left rail has been the better rail for the entire event. The right has broke pretty well overall, but he's got another nice starter here. Looks like he's just got to kind of use a little of the pocket to try and draw on a straight line as best he can. I'm not sure he can get by the 9 with a follow stroke. I think he can. He thinks he can. Good draw between 9. It actually lays pretty good for that, it appears, but you would want to go forward if you can here. That's what I was wondering, if he gets by that ball or not. And he may be fortunate to get a pocketable 3. I'm not sure. And looking right down at it, Phil, besides the long rail bank, I don't think the 3 is makeable in the lower right, excuse me.
Extension called.
There you can see the 9-ball, the offending party. Well, he thinks he can squeeze it in.
I'm gonna watch this one. Yeah, I don't know. That was close. I think it was a good hit, and Marcel's very good at his job, so yeah.
I think it was 3 first, just about.
Yeah.
One thing we can say for certain, he's been very fortunate where the 3 has come to rest, if it won't pot. Oh, but the 9-ball did. The 3-9 combination, and that changes the complexion of the match. Abdullah Alyousef has given plenty of gifts to Lo Ho Sum and vice versa in this match, and the gifts just kept going. The 3 wasn't potable, as it turned out, and now they are all tied up again at 5-5. Talk about a match that's twisting one way and then the other, Jeremy.
Yeah, just caught the 9-ball off the 2 there, and didn't appear the 3 was really playable without at least a bunch of extreme side spin. And a nice shot here after sitting in the chair for, you know, a rack and a half, and actually sitting in the chair after some mistakes, which can make it harder. Alyousef has broke the balls really well, so he's just kind of got to regroup. And pocketing that 9 there and tying our score at 5, that's the start of trying to regroup.
Well, Lo Ho Sum has been involved in our only
The 11th
dishonoring frame
Abdullah
finish
Alyousef to
so
break.
far against Shane Van
5 racks
Boning.
each.
Is he going to take this one the distance against that man, Abdullah Alyousef? 5-5, a possible 3 racks remaining.
I'll tell you, they're both playing, I wouldn't say the same break, but similar speeds. So if we see Sum get back to the table, if I was in his corner, he's had a dry break. Well, not a dry break, but he's missed the wing ball twice. I would have to go to that other side if he does get back to, which is in real question, Phil. Now let's see. Automatic position on the 2 this time, so it won't be an overrun. You wouldn't think anyways. It's just going to be a bit of a shot down the rail, but the 3 is handy. And the 4-5 you can see, so really the shot of the rack. Yeah, pretty solid there. Perfect on the 3. Just a chip in on the side, roll forward. You'll want to get nice and heavy on the 4. That way you can drop to the bottom rail on the 5.
Extension, please.
Depending on how thin he gets on the 5 will determine whether he comes across between the 7-9 or kind of draws the cue ball up that right side rail. Looks like he's got plenty thin, so key to this is don't overhit it. If you overhit it, could spread and maybe catch a piece of that 7. You have to use the bed here. Trust the speed of the table to get you there. He may be underneath this, Phil. He's going to be all right. I think a little closer to his work than he wanted.
Yeah, if you've got to pinpoint one weakness in Abdullah Alyousef's game today, he has missed the odd ball he should pot, but generally speaking, the Achilles heel has been positional play. You can't dispute that.
Cue balls hasn't been so friendly so far. All right, I'm not sure. Watch outside pocket. Oh my. And this is going to get awkward. And that's the punishment. You get out of line. Not necessarily going to cost you pocketing the ball in front of you, but what's it going to do for position on the next? And it almost cost him ball in hand there. This has gotten very awkward.
You know, he gambled early in the rack by taking his extension with plenty of balls left, and in the end, the gamble backfired. Had to play that shot a little quicker than he wanted to. The 7 went astray, and it's another twist. It wasn't the smoothest delivery of the cue I've ever seen, but the 9-ball went in nevertheless. A low-ho sum. Must have thought he was going to trill. Instead, he leads 6-5, and he's breaking off in rack 12. This isn't good quality pool, but it's hugely entertaining and compelling to watch.
Yeah, and it does happen. It's happened to all. And sometimes you're like, how does the cue ball fall exactly where it gets funny? I'm only a foot away from the 7, maybe 18 inches, but still very awkward.
It's one of those matches, Jeremy, where the loser will have so many regrets. I think in many respects, even though Loho Summers made 5 foul shots, Abdullah Alyousef has been as guilty as anyone of making errors he wouldn't normally commit. So one of them will leave here shaking his head in disbelief.
Leading by 6 racks to 5.
Well, I would bet that, well, he's staying on that side rail there, so, and I understand players prefer a side usually, but you should be prepared for both because you have to recognize what's going on with the break at times. You saw Ruiz last night make a big change at a big moment, and it sure paid off. But I kind of feel like this young man's going to come away with a nice shot to get this 12th rack start. Oh, the 5 hangs, so it almost makes it to where he wasn't going to have a problem with that anyways. But but if the 1 had gotten tough, the 5 is certainly a helper. And here I just kind of ease this in. The center of the table is very wide open. Oh my. That's just focus there. Can't even say anything about experience. That's just paying attention.
In these tournaments, there's always an unofficial candidate for shot of the event. That might be the worst shot of the event. What a blunder.
Yeah, and he was worried about making them both, trying to hit a piece of the 5 instead of just playing a very light speed. When you're close to, you should be able to manage the light speed even if nerves are high. Now this is the shot that's really kind of handcuffed Abdullah, getting from the 1 to the 2. Drawing down for the side, it appears. That's better speed. Still not out of the woods. The 9-ball's a big ball trying to get from the 6 to the 7. So getting position on that 6 is very important. Just got to track 1 rail. Your club table, I think you might come 2 rails with inside here. I think on the slick table, I come 1 rail myself. Oh, that's way light. And that's going to get a little awkward here. Again, the 9-ball. It involves the 8 coming across. You certainly can't go forward. He's got to show off that draw stroke here. And didn't really address the position, really like looking at it, in my opinion. Oh, much better. And you notice how he didn't stay down on the ball as much there. Maybe not wanting to deal with the nerves on that shot on the 7.
Abdullah Alyousef.
For the second time this week, we are going to the wire. Aloho Sum had to do that in the previous round against Shane Van Boning. He passed that examination. Will he pass this one? Well, after missing that most simple 1-5 combination, his head must be spinning. He must be reeling because Abdullah Alyousef is back on level terms and he's leading a charmed life. Jeremy, this is a shot you rarely see missed.
Yeah, it's like it's a little bit of the judgment on way to play it. I think maybe brought that miss in, but more than anything, it's just a little bit of a lack of focus. I don't even blame that on nerves. I mean, you could almost throw your cue at that one and make it, but you know, no matter how we got here, Phil, this is what we all want to see, the 6-6 matches, right?
Yep.
Indeed, Hill. Look at the pot success rate. Now, in snooker, if you're below 90%, you're not happy. In pool, if you're below 90%, you should be losing out of the door on the way home. One of them will win.
Abdullah Alyousef to break.
Yeah, the break's been his friend so far, playing a medium cut break. Oh, no. Ooh. And there's rarely a break and run when it seems like when it's hill. I don't care how big the championship is, how great the players are. We always see drama, it seems. And a difficult safety here. The 7's got him cut off the right of the 1. I got to get a little bit of a better look. Oof. Now, if he really felt good about it, he may be able to play the 1 off the rail, off the pink. Is he swerving this around the 7, trying to get behind the 4? I may go for this, actually, playing the cue ball, the 1 off the rail. If it goes in off the 4, that's fine, but really pulling the cue ball some 3 rails behind the 5. You got the 7 there as a helper. He's playing the soft one. He had to swerve that. That's a great shot.
Yeah, when nerves are raw, delicacy, that's the toughest thing to pull off. Well done.
Yeah, and he got the premium out of this. He's going to have to go, I don't even know where he's going to go here. I mean, if he goes to the side rail elevated, he almost has to shoot away and masse this with a ton of left English. He's not high enough on the ball, I don't think. Yeah.
Foul stroke.
He had to almost masse, like get straight up in the air with the cue stick. And it's just not a shot you're going to practice very often.
And start the clock, please.
As Jeremy has pointed out, as we've seen, with ball in hand, and this is the 6th time Abdullah Alyousef has had ball in hand, he's often had problems in gaining position from 1 to 2. Will he be able to do so here?
Yeah, and a little tap to the head from Loho Sum, but that shot there,
Extension,
you could
please.
take all 20 in this field and they may not hit that one. It's really been some other shots. Oh, he's lightened up on this again. This is way light. I'm not saying it's going to cost him, but he would like to have been a good 1.5 feet, 2 feet closer. Kind of stunned that one a bit, Phil. Did gather himself here. He can handle a hair of a contact on the 9.
Exciting stuff, isn't it? There's 2 players desperate to go through.
Yeah, and when nerves are high and tension is there, you would rather have an angle on this 4 making speed easy and cueing easy rather than having to draw it. Oh, he hit that pretty. He'll come to the other side for the 6 in the top side pocket on your TV. Really the shot, this is it, really. Don't really see a blunder from here if he gets this 5 down. Oh.
Well, let's not beat about the bush. That was just awful.
And it's been twice in this match. He really didn't go through his process there, just kind of one pre-stroke and pulled the trigger. And both times it's cost him.
Look at that, 15 knots. 15 between the 2 of them.
Well, good speed with the cue ball. I kind of think he knew he wasn't ever going to get the snooker.
Oh, yeah.
He's asked to clean the 5 ball, I think? Or is there just a...
You don't have it.
Okay, I think he's going maybe for the cut. And it really wasn't hit terribly from the end rail, just the 4-inch pockets makes that shot 20% tougher.
This match proves out that Q Sports don't have to be high quality to be high drama and really entertaining. Who is going to win, or more pertinently, who is going to lose?
Was so mental. That shot there should set us up for our second semifinalist. And I think Asia is going to have 50% of our semifinalists, excuse me.
After what's gone before,
Extension, please.
anything could happen here. Can he hold his nerve and knock in the 9-ball? Low ho sum is through. Abdullah